So you got questions about branding. Like, should you even brand? What does branding mean? And does wearing little logos on your clothes, is that enough to make you successful? That's what we're doing today. This is Ask Me Anything. Ask a branding expert anything. We've got two experts filling the hot seat today. We've got Michael and Tonya from BrandFace. Michael and Tonya from BrandFace.
Good morning.
Hey, guys.
These are two of the most knowledgeable branding experts I know in not only just the real estate field, but just in general, right? So we got some listener submitted questions that we've collected over the last week and a half. But if you're watching live on Facebook, Zach's going to keep an eye on the Facebook newsfeed. So Zach will cut and paste those questions here so I can see them. But I'm just going to jump right in because we got like 25 minutes. I just want to rock and roll. The first question is kind of a softball. Are you ready for this? So Pete asked, why do agents need to brand themselves?
Well, in 4 words, so they stand out. And it's actually much deeper than that. So your brand actually sets the tone and direction for what you want to achieve. So it starts with knowing who you're talking to, who your ideal customers are, some of the things that set you apart, and then crafting the look and feel and messaging for a brand that gets that message and image out there. So it's, in a nutshell, it's really supposed to help you attract exactly who you want to work with and the kind of business that you want in your life.
Does it work?
So pretty much that's the simple answer.
But does it, I don't know, this is my own question, but does it work? Like, is it worth the effort?
Oh, it's absolutely.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Just ask anybody who's got a really good brand and who didn't before, right? Oh, yeah, it absolutely works. It helps to draw that in, draw in exactly what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, to give you a stat, like in my small little firm, I'm in the real estate business, obviously. In my small little firm, we've got 43% of our agents are branded professionally by BrandFace. If you take out one of those 11 people now, if you take out one of those 11 people, they do more business than everybody that's not branded combined. Just one of them.
Say that again. So you said you have 11 people that have gone through this process to create a personal brand, correct?
Personal brand, yes.
Okay. And those 11 people have done what?
If you take one of those 11, just one, any one of them, and you pull them out and take their stats, their GCI, their volume, the number of transactions they've done, they outdo all the other 19 put together.
Wow.
Just any one of them. Yeah. And some of them are 4 and 5 times more in GCI.
So Zach, please jump in if we got questions, type in the chat box. If you guys are watching on Facebook Live, the reason why this is a live show is so we can get live engagement, but I know a number of people are going to watch this recording later. I've got a couple of my own questions. You guys tell me which direction we want to take it. We could go down the road of personal branding. What is a personal brand versus just a general brand? Or we can talk about logos and the normal stuff that people consider a brand. Which direction you want to go down first?
Well, I think we can actually cover both if you go down the personal branding side.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ask you the question this way. Is there a difference between branding in general and having a personal brand? And how does that relate to real estate agents?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a difference. You want me to take it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so branding overall is corporate branding, if you will, are big companies, like Amazon or Walmart or Coca-Cola or just name one. It doesn't matter, right? They create this brand. And that brand stands for certain things that you can trust inside of the acumen of that business. Personal branding is exactly what it says. It's personal branding. It's being known for your facial recognition in any business that you are forward facing. Right now, we argue that it also works at any level, even with those Amazons or Home Depots or stuff like that. Their personal branding is still very important because we know for a fact, we didn't invent this stat, right? But that people do business with people. They don't do business with a logo. Like nobody's calling up and buying 250,000 refrigerators from Home Depot just because they're Home Depot. There's a person on the other end that is making that order, right? And they're ordering it from another person that's building them that's saying, yeah, I'm going to fulfill your order for you. So, but business is always, even B2B is done person to person.
Yeah,
but in sales, it's very important that you get known for why you're different from your sea of competitors. And we call that escaping the sea of sameness. So when you niche in, when you design a brand, when you go through like a formula, like our 3D formula that we'll talk about before this is over, then you know exactly what customer you're trying to attract, and also the language in which you're trying to attract that person, because you've already done that personal branding work. And on their side, they're recognizing the face, and then they're also recognizing the acumen that they're attracted to.
Yeah. And I want to add to that, Napoleon Hill, the famous author of Think and Grow Rich, among other books, that's his most popular. In his book, what was it? Almost 100 years ago now?
1912, I think.
He said that the personalities back of a business will determine that business's level of success.
I didn't realize that came from Think and Grow Rich.
And it came specifically from the book, The Law of Success in 16 Lessons. Not that Think and Grow Rich book. Law of Success in 16 Lessons, I believe, is the name of that book.
But I love that, Tonya, because nothing has changed in 100 years. Like I always say, in this day and age, because of social media, as an agent, you are your brand, right? There's that bottom line, you are your brand. But apparently 100 years ago, they're saying the same thing.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Interesting. All right. So you just referenced your 3D formula. I've heard you unpack this before, but we do have a question from Steve M. And Steve was actually asking, how do I create my actual branding? My guess is your 3D formula will probably address that, correct?
Yes.
It does.
Okay. Yes, you want to unpack that a bit?
Sure. So it actually is a formula. And a lot of people look at branding and say, okay, it's ethereal. You let your customer create your brand. It's about how you make people feel. And all of that to a degree is true. However, if you wait for your customer to determine your brand, it could be 10 or 15 years, right? How many people you have like talking to each day and interacting with, and all of a sudden 15 years from now, somebody says, oh, you should be known for this. Well, why wait? It is, you know what you want to be known for. You know the strengths that you have. You know the type of people that you want to attract into your business and your life. So why don't you create that? We teach people how to treat us, right? And we do that with our brand as well. So we came up with the formula, the 3Ds: define, develop, and display. And real quick, I'll tackle the define. In that first phase, we define those ideal customers. What are their characteristics? What are the things that they appreciate? All of those different things. Then the second thing we look at is what differentiates you as a person in your profession and as a person in general, both the professional and the personal aspects of you. What are those things that differentiate you? And then those two things together determine what it is you want to be known for. We use a tagline or slogan, if you will. We call it a brand identifier. And that really just kind of tells people this is who you are or what you stand for. And it sets the tone and direction for your brand. It's kind of like, if you look at your brand like a book, your brand is your story, but you can't fit the entire contents of your story on the cover. You've got to have that 75-mile-an-hour look. So that's why that brand identifier or tagline or slogan is so important to capture attention right away and get them to want to open that book.
Is that your own unique thought, by the way? Because I've never heard that before. You can't fit your entire story on the cover. Is that a brand faceism?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Write that down. Those of you watching this recording, go back and rewind it, pause, write that down. I'm telling you, that one nugget, that takeaway, because I've never heard it said that way, that guides you through the rest of this process. That is so good, guys. It really is good.
You got to have guardrails, right? Because that's how we know to stay in our lane. Otherwise, we're out there trying to get business from everybody, and we all know how that ends.
Yes.
And by the way, I keep muting myself out. Can you guys hear the car alarm going off in the background on my side, or can you not hear it? Okay, thank goodness. There's somewhere in my complex, there is a car alarm distantly going off that I keep muting myself out. So I just want to show you behind my
head, Jesse.
Yeah, it's in your head.
It's in my head. Okay, so right back there, that's the logo for my team. You guys see that little logo, that little sign right there? There it is, right? Oh, that one. That's my family. Yep. That's my sign. Okay. What I love is people always talk about logos, and let's make sure we have this killer logo, and then we're going to have a brand. And like, does the logo really matter for a brand? And if so, how much?
It does matter, but it is not all. And if you have just, we say stay away from the three amigos, right? Yeah, which is a photo, a logo, and a tagline, right? You don't want just those three. Those are branding elements, but they in and of themselves are not a brand, right? And like on a big giant scale, Coca-Cola, right? The red, the swoosh, all that, that's not what you're drinking inside the Coke. And that's not the memories that you evoke from all the Cokes that you drank and, and the events that you went through that the Coca-Cola put on or hosted, right? That's just their logo. Right. They've built a culture around that. And so it's the same thing. And it actually falls into the second D of develop also. So the logo is important. The tagline is important. Like Tonya said, that's the cover of the book. And that's in the defined phase of what we try to do for everybody. The development phase is the rest of the story, right? It's the preface, it's the introduction, it's chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, all the way to conclusion. And so you got to build out the rest of that in the define phase of the 3D. And by building that out, you recognize the fact that it's not just enough just to have a logo. Nobody's going to do business with just a logo. Yeah. They don't do business with a certain franchise just because of the logo. In fact, NAR was the one that put out the statistic. I can't remember it. Don't hold me to it. But it was way up, close to 100. That people they could care less about the franchise they work with. They care about the agent that they work with. Right.
That was in the Generational Trends Report, NAR from 2019. I have the stats on my monitor. I can tell you, only 4% of consumers used the brand the company the agent was associated with as a deciding factor in hiring that agent when listing their home. 4%. They don't care about the brand of the brokerage you're with. It doesn't matter. It's you, the agent. You are your brand. 100%. I know that. I have that stat for you.
I love that, Jesse. I love it. Now, hey, I want to caveat. I want to put in parentheses right here that we're not beating up on brokerages for that. They do have their own culture. They do build their own culture, and they're all good. Like I have people all the time say, "Hey, why join this one? Why join that one? Why join this one?" I'm like, "What do you need as the agent?" And if that brokerage fulfills that need for you, like it, some of them are famous for the paperwork being perfect. Some of them are famous for returns. Some of them are famous for they have all their different reasons. Their cultures are their cultures. But when you're talking about personal branding, you want to find that one that works with your culture best so you can get out here on the street and meet people at the kitchen table.
I'm not taking that bait, Michael. I'm not going down the road. There's a brokerage that's famous for their paperwork. Please tell me that. Anyway, let's move on. So I've got a question for you guys about brand face because I'm waiting for, by the way, we got a number of people watching on Facebook Live. This is your chance to ask some really amazing branding and marketing experts some questions, guys. All right. So Kyle Draper just said he's watching live. He's said good stuff, lots of nuggets. Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
Here's my question for you guys. One is about brand face and then one's about mistakes you've made in branding. Let's do brand face first because I've been wanting to ask you guys, what the heck is brand face and where did you come up with that?
Oh my. Okay. So, I started my career many years ago. We won't go into the exact date, selling vacuum cleaners door to door. And so I realized that, I couldn't just walk up to a house and say, open the door, open your wallet. Here's a vacuum, right? It doesn't quite work like that. So
that was Michael's approach.
Yeah. Right. Now, don't think I didn't try it, but it just didn't work. Right. So I had to kind of formulate my own story when I came to a door. And so I did that. And then that led me to a job in radio sales. And I spent the next 18 years in the media world. Well, immediately when I got into radio sales, I noticed that I could see these faces come through at these networking events or any kind of community event. And I noticed immediately, hey, these guys are like rock stars. What on earth? And I noticed that they all had one thing in common. They were the face and the voice of their own business. So they had the face and the brand, just kind of put them together. So years later, it was about, it was 18 years later, a little more than that I was sitting around one day and thinking, okay, I was reevaluating my own life and thinking, okay, I was running a small agency at the time and had founded that agency to work with media outlets and help them. But I realized, this is not my passion. This is not what I want to do. I went back to look at what I truly loved and enjoyed. And I think that personal branding was the common thread through everything I did, because I had brought in many business owners over the years into the studio, into television studios as well, to work on their own unique personal brands. So that is where the word brand face came from. Cool side story to that. at the time, I was working with two people whose opinions I appreciated very much, very brilliant people, still think they're brilliant today. But I said to them, okay, I'm writing this book. What do you think about the word brand face? And both of them just kind of stood there and said, what about this? Or what about this? And immediately it's like a fire went through me. I knew it's like, nope, this is what it is. And I trademarked it that day. I filled out the paperwork to trademark it that day.
I love it.
That's where the story comes from. It was just one of those God moments, if you will, where you just kind of think, this is it. And there is no going back and there is no alternative.
I love that. I love stories like that. All right. I've always wanted to know. I was curious. All right. So thank you. So we got another 5-10 minutes left. Guys, if you have questions, please drop them in. Here's my other burning question. You've worked with a lot of people in real estate and a lot of other industries, but let's stick in real estate. What are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen people make around personal branding?
I was one of them. Like just being honest, like I was a big mistake in that. I before I met her, I've always been a marketer. I've understood marketing. I worked with companies with $20 million a year advertising budgets. Like, so I knew marketing and how important it was to get it out there. But branding and marketing are two different things. And branding should come first. And I learned this from her. But when I hired her to help my company, she took this big, huge mess. I mean, we had 6 construction trucks running up and down the road, and 2 of them had a different number than the other 4, like things like that, that we were not dialed in. We had this font with this crazy script on it that I loved. I thought, it shows elegance. It shows that we're elevating, how we do things. And, people are going to pick up just from the script alone that we're perfect at what we do. And
Michael Carr, the elegant contractor.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's terrible. She's like, that's terrible.
Plus, Michael, in terms of personal brand, no offense, but the last word I'd ever use to describe you would be elegant. I don't think you're brilliant. You're dynamic. I mean, maybe you dress up nice. I don't know. Anyway, keep going.
I was trying for it, though. I was like, hey, my logo is going to speak for me, right? My logo is going to show this eloquence. And I'm like, no, it didn't. And she was like, no, it's terrible. And she said, another reason why it's terrible is you can't read it at 75 miles an hour.
That was
People
the only
fly
reason.
By it. And she said, they don't know what that MC stands for. They don't know what that means. That doesn't have anything to do. And she said, and then besides that, your face isn't anywhere. And I'm like, my face isn't going anywhere. And she goes, if you work with me, it is. And she said, because it's personal branding and the people in town need to know who you are. And they need to know what. So she really put the blinders on me to help me focus. And I would say that's probably the biggest mistake we see with people is their fear of focus towards a certain genre of the customers that they're wanting to attract. We see people all the time. They say, well, look, if I focus in, are you telling me I can't work with first-time home buyers if I'm actually, going after empty nesters? Well, no, of course not. We're not saying that. If they call you on the phone because somebody said that you're fantastic, it doesn't matter. We'll sell them a house or a piece of property. What do we care, right? A commission is a commission. We're after it. But when you're going to spend your marketing dollars, when you're going to try to figure out in 3 months, 6 months, a year, what your ROI is on your marketing dollars, you better be branded. Because if you're not branded, there's no way that you can tell where you are or where you're going. It's impossible. And the minute she convinced me of that, and then we got rid of the trucks, got rid of the construction, got boiled down into the real estate, started working on that brand for the real estate, it was then that we took off, the number one in our market. And because we knew who we were going after, we knew the clients that we were serving. I learned that all from her.
Okay. So I got like 4 minutes and I have 2 questions. You have to give me a short answer to the first one, because you just said something that I want people to go back and write this down, because you tossed it out like it was something you say at like brunch with your kids. You're like, what? Okay, write this down. Fear of focus. I've never heard it said that way before. That might have been a Michaelism. I don't know. Is that your own phrase? I think so. I'm giving you credit.
It's ours. I don't know. From this,
okay.
we brainstorm. I can't tell if it's her brain.
It's just a brand phaseism. Like I love it, guys. Write that down. Fear of focus, because that's not even just personal branding. That's in their business as a whole. I guarantee if you look at their overall strategy and their life, if you want agents to optimize in their life and to do more with less and have some leverage. So my question for you is, in 1 or 2 sentences, how do you start to shift past that fear of focus? What's the first couple steps? And then I'll ask my last question. We'll wrap up.
All right, I'll give you a real quick one. We have a trademark acronym called HEAP, HEAP. All right. And that is how you stop the fear of focus. You sit down and you think to yourself, I want to work with certain genre of people, right? A niche. It needs to be somebody you can help. So your expertise knows how to help that person. Maybe you've been through it before. The E needs to be somebody you enjoy working with, because life is way too short to dance with ugly personalities. The A stands for people that will appreciate what you do. Quit dealing with people that are smarter than you that's never sold a house before. And then the P needs to be somebody that's profitable. So it needs to be somebody that you can help, that you enjoy working with, that appreciates what you do and is profitable to you. That's how you boil down the focus.
I love that, because there's a lot of more deeper psychology and mindset stuff that goes into it. But if you just get into action, you focus on a really quick step-by-step, because that's what I love about all your stuff, guys. This is how I want to wrap it up. And I want you to think if you have any last ways to leave here. But in case people who are watching this, if this is their first exposure to Brand Face, or if they've been here, if they've seen you on 6 other of our shows or other podcasts, you guys have your own podcast, which is amazing. Go check out their podcast, guys. How could someone, if they want you to help them at a deeper level with their personal branding, where should they go? What should they do?
Discussyourbrand.com. Plain and simple. Just go there. They can schedule a call with somebody on our team, and we can really talk to them about what it's going to take to get them where they deserve to be. Discussyourbrand.com.
Discussyourbrand.com. Awesome. When we edit this, Zach, let's make sure we put that up on the screen so we can show it up there. I didn't even know you guys had that website. Is that a new domain?
It's been around.
We've had it for several years.
You've sent me before to the other one, with the quiz, but all right. So Discuss Your Brand is where I should start. All right. Discussyourbrand.com. Is there any closing thoughts? We got 1 minute before we wrap this up. You guys want to tie it all together with?
Well, I'll tie it up with this, because this to me is very important. A lot of people are sitting there thinking, I don't really know what's different, unique, or special about me, right? There is a star inside of every single one of you. Trust us when we say that. We always find it. It's in there. We always say we don't make stars, we unveil them. And so we can help you figure out. In fact, there's many stars inside of you. We can help you figure out the ones to focus on and bring together to shine your light the brightest, because that's really what it's about. It's not about look at me, look at me. It's about look at what I can do for you, my customer. And there are stars inside of you that will help you do that.
Michael, Tonya,
I'll put the cap on that.
Go ahead.
Be bold about it. It's very important.
I just want to say I'm grateful you guys are here. Seriously, I hope people watching, I'm seeing in the comments now popping up, people saying it was fire. They appreciate the nuggets. I mean, truly, you guys are 2 of the most knowledgeable branding and specifically personal branding experts I've ever talked to. I'm grateful to have you guys on the show and spend some time making this this Ask Me Anything.
Thank you, my
We're
friend.
grateful to you.
We're grateful to be friends with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Enjoy your day, guys. Talk to everybody later. Bye, guys.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.